Welcome back to this lovely channel where everything concerning building, construction and home maintenance is treated and discussed in details. In this video I'll be discussing steps to building a house, and the steps will be listed in the order which is expected of a neat and quality building constructions to be carried out to avoid waste or damaging of already done works while carrying out another. We are basically considering a bungalow for this tutorial, and we will definitely treat other types of building, duplex and many suspended floors kind of building in our future videos. So please sit back and relax as I take you through the step by step involved in building construction of the bungalow. But before we start, please take a few seconds to subscribe to this channel so that we can grow it together and make it the favorite of all, and we can reach many more audience. All right, so let's go straight into the action for today. After a plot of land is gotten, the next thing to do is to get a building drawing ready actually, and in order for the construction project to start fully. But before then, don't forget to seek approval from appropriate bodies, and once all these are done, the construction activity can start fully. Yes, the first site activity is the site clearing, and site clearing is very important and is the first step actually in any construction activity. It involves clearing, leveling, removal of any obstacle on the site, just to allow or give room for different site activities to take place comfortably. And this can be done manually or with the use of construction machines like bulldozer, graders and the rest. Alright, the next thing is setting out. This is considered to be the first technical activity to be done on site. It involves the transfer of building plan to the ground, and you need to be very careful. We've done a video on using measuring tape, so please, if you've not watched it, go back and then see that video, because this is very important as it will define the shape of the building, and any mistake committed here will have adverse effects. So don't rush while doing this, and take your time, and don't forget to do a setback which is expected of most building construction depending on your location, a setback from the road and all that. All right, so after that, excavation is done. On completion of a proper setting out, actually excavation of the foundation trenches and column pits is done, and the depth and the width of the trenches and the pits can be found in the structural drawing. And don't forget that excavation must be done following the result of the setting out. Actually, once this is done, then we proceed straight to blinding. Blinding comes next after excavation is done, and one of the reasons why we do blinding is to create a perfect horizontal level in the foundation, in order for us to lay the blocks, and then the building can kickstart, just to have a perfect horizontal level kind of. And it involves the spread of concrete material in the trenches and the pits that is dug. And the moment that is done, the next thing is foundation block setting. At this stage, the arrangement of a set of blocks is done in the foundation, and this is built to also a required height. Don't forget, we also discussed about flooding in our previous video when talking about dampness. So it is important that you maintain a height that is more than the road, although the drawing, of course, we would have considered all this so that you avoid flooding during the rain. And then after you have done your foundation block setting, the next thing is to backfill. Because the foundation blocks are built to require height, there are spaces formed inside the foundation which is expected to be filled up. The stage is where the foundation is now filled with filling material such as laterite or sharp sand, depending on the location of the building and the material required in the drawing. Please note that the material should be well compacted, with appropriate equipment before you proceed to the next stage. The next stage is the mechanical foundation piping. In construction, some mechanical pipes are such as a water supply, the drain pipes, go through the foundation, and many omit this, and later on they will start breaking the foundation concrete, but it is wrong. So it is needful that that the foundation piping is done at this stage. Not all the piping anyway, but the one required in the foundation, and let me point out that it is good that you use a very strong and quality material, because once the foundation is already poured with concrete, it is always difficult to go back to do some maintenance in case of any leakage. Then also the electrical piping for the foundation is done also. Some buildings that have the power supply being run underground, at this stage you will make room for conduit, so for your piping to run under the ground, so that you will not have to break the foundation of the building, or where the building is connecting to maybe the security house, the fencing of the house, and the rest of it. This is where one needs to do this. Then after all this is done, then the foundation material, which is key to any foundation process and must not be joked with, will be laid appropriately. Some of the materials include hardcore wire mesh reinforcements, and also the DPM, which is important to prevent dampness on the wall later in the future. So please, depending on the design that you have for the foundation, materials that are necessary for good forming of your foundation should not be omitted at this stage. So at this stage that you introduce all that. Then once that is done, we proceed into carpentry boarding for the DPC, and at this level the carpenter is engaged to do boarding of the perimeter of the foundation to a thickness found in the structural drawing, but mostly it's always 150 mm. This is to make room for the pouring of the concrete to form the DPC. And then once that is done, then the casting proper will take place, casting of the DPC. And then this is the next thing. The concrete is poured into the formwork. The process is called casting. It is allowed to cure and set for a few hours. During this curing period, you wet the foundation, the DPC now, with enough water. So once you are done with this, the next thing is to start the block setting for superstructure. And this is the block that you set from your foundation up to the lintel stage actually. So this is considered to be the first step of the superstructure process. The blocks are set and to form various parts of the building on the foundation according to the architectural design. This is taken up to the lintel level, and the windows and door spaces are also formed at this stage. Then after that, the lintels, beams, and extended columns, are at this stage will be cast, and iron bender carpenters, of course, all of them will be engaged at this stage before the mason will mix the appropriate concrete for it, and then it is poured into the formworks. After the lintel stage, then there's another set of block wall that needs to be done, and this block wall will be taken from above the lintel onto the roof stage, and thereafter we have the roof beam, which is the next thing to be done. It is good to do the roof beam because this is what will receive the weight of your roof carcass structure, and then this is considered as part of the building where this roof sits on, and should be done as well. People omit it, but it's not advisable. Please, it's always good that we do this part. Then once that is done, then we have the roof carcass. It could, mostly for bungalow, people just make use of a wood roof carcass kind of, and then the roof carcass follows after the beam. It is the part of the building where the roofing sheet is attached, and also the ceiling is also attached. Actually, is the structure that will carry all these finishes, and this is achieved either using wood or metal material. But for bungalow, majorly we just use wood. Yes, then after that we have the roofing, and the roofing is seen as the first finishing work in the building construction. In fact, in Nigeria here, after you have done with your roofing stage work, people celebrate it, with some refreshment, like the building is practically completed. Roofing comes after the roof carcass and has been done, and there are different kind of roofing materials which we will be looking at in our subsequent videos in terms of advantages and disadvantages of each of them. After this stage, then the electrical man comes back again to continue his piping work, and this piping work will be taken rooted from the foundation level through the walls and then to the roof. At this stage, the DB is also installed, and then all the the pattress boxes are properly installed. Also, the mechanical man will also come where there is needed for extension of pipes from the foundation will be done, and in the kitchen, the toilets, and where there are mechanical activities, even the AC piping also will be carried out, so that the piping of the AC can run through a conduit, and it will give room for easy maintenance later in the future. Once all these are done, then the next thing is plastering. So as soon as the electrical and the mechanical man are done with their job and their works are well checked and satisfied, the plastering will commence immediately, both internally and then externally. Plastering, you have window and door installation, and then you dress them appropriately. Then once you're done with this, then we move to ceiling finishes. You just make choice for the kind of ceiling you want to use, and then you go ahead and then install your ceiling. After sealing, then the tiling man can come on board, and then of course he will do his own part of the job. You will observe that at this stage where the ceiling and the tiling man are working, the mason is not doing anything anymore inside the house as such. So you move them outside, and then the construction of septic tank and chambers can start. And of course, the connections of the piping connections from chambers to septic tanks can also be done at this stage. Now the electrical man will come, and then this is the best time for him to do his wiring work. So you run all his wire through all the pipes laid, and then as soon as he is done, the screeding man can commence screeding of the building. And a lot of people do screeding and painting together at the same time, but this is not too cool. You do your screeding first, painting will come up later. So screeding your building is good and is essential part of the process of preparing the surface of the walls to receive paint. And so do this carefully and don't rush as well. The moment screeding is done, then burglary and then handrails can be installed. Yes, people often install burglaries while they are installing windows, but it is wrong. If you do that, you don't have what you call the space to dress your window properly if the burglaries are there, so it doesn't come out well. So the best thing is just to chill and then wait for this moment, and then you install your burglary and then your handrail, or else you may have to remove the burglary just to dress window, or remove it will not be convenient at all. So once you are done with the installation of burglary and then handrails, the next thing is fittings installation, both for electrical and mechanical guy. You can go ahead and then install the socket, switches, WC, ACs, water heater, and so on and so forth. All the finishes, fittings can be installed, and a proper test should be carried out for all installation. After all these are done, guess what? You do pre-cleaning of the building, and the project at this stage is attaining practical completion. So you do pre-cleaning, and you allow this to take place to make room for painter, for painting, and for external walls to begin outside here. So you clean the building and the surroundings generally. And once you are done with pre-cleaning, the next thing is to do your first painting. Painting in building are not just done in just one layer of paint. No, you run like 2 or 3 layers of paint. So you do your painting first, but that's not your final painting. That we also call it pre-painting. So, and once you are done with that, external works can take place outside. And your external works include landscaping, then planting of flowers, and the rest of it. And the moment this is done, you have your final painting done. And once the final painting is done, and of course, the next thing is to clean the building finally. And thank you for watching. See you in our next video.